property entrepreneurs. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. Just making sure I'm connected loud and clear. Note to self, attend site before you decide to do a Facebook Live to check wind conditions and fellow developers smashing things up. So excuse the noise. We've got another development site behind us. This isn't one of our sites. The one behind is another development where they've taken down an old industrial unit and putting some resi up. So excuse the fact that they're currently knocking that down. So what we're talking about here is are systems sexy? So I think mixed bag on the systems side. Hey there Neil, Lars, Cal, Steve, Tushan, good to see you. What we're looking at here is are systems sexy? And it became increasingly apparent at the last 3-day accelerator that one is that nobody finds systems sexy. Like, that's pretty fair cop. I think we're all in the same boat. Not many people enjoy doing systems. It's not, you know, I appreciate the value of systems and they allow us to run our business effectively, but I definitely don't find them sexy. The general consensus, however, when we were talking about systems was I think people's perception is that systems are hugely labour intensive. They're big clunky bits of software, you know, and they take ages. Mark finds systems sexy. That's good. That is good to know. Is that they take ages to put into place. They take loads of time. You need to be really tech savvy. And genuinely, from our experience, that's really not the case. So one of the things we shared on the 3-day accelerator was about the concept of putting a map into your business. So the map to your business is where the value is. If your intellectual property is in your head or in your team's head and you're relying on the people in your team to run your business, there is not really any value in the business. You need the value then is in the people, not the process. You need talented people, but they need to be able to run established processes and systems to enable the business to work quickly, to enable it to work sustainably, and to enable it to work without you, essentially. This is one of our sites that we acquired recently, and when I was saying about our system sexy, when you've got, in this case, the map, which is basically it's a way to run the business, it's a process in your business. When you've got the map in place, it enables you to do things really quickly. One of the things that we did was, so we recently acquired this site here. So this is Wycliffe Mill Business Centre. You can see it. So this is a 7,500 square foot business centre in a mixed use area. It's currently operational as a, it's 2 blocks. There's 11 businesses in there. And it's currently operational as an office block. This site went to auction last month, and we basically, because we had the map in place, because we had the methodology, because we had the assets, because we had the processes in place, it enabled us to secure it really, really quickly. So on the Sunday, so we first viewed this site the week before. On the Sunday, we decided to do the appraisal. So Sunday we did the appraisal. We saw it got listed. Sunday did the appraisal. Monday put the offer in, and then Monday lunchtime we acquired it. But the only way that we could do that was because we had the map in place. So basically, the map that we use is the way to work really, really quickly in your business and effectively without missing anything along the way. And this is one of the things I'd encourage you to put in place. So the map is basically, and you use this for any process, any system. It's the way to get the value out of the people into the processes, so you can rely on the structure of the business and then recruit the talented people to run it. So M is the methodology. So the methodology in the business is basically the blueprint to how the company works. And if you don't have this, then people will be treading on each other's toes. You know, nobody knows where they stand. You're constantly checking in to see who's doing what. The M is the methodology. And this is basically the process that we use. And some people think that, again, these things are like 25-page operations documents and things like that. They really aren't. So PPN Portfolio Builder, we stopped counting at 100 deals. We've delivered well over 100 HMOs, probably more up to like 130 now. And we've used this same process to do all of those. The methodology for the whole company, so start to finish, steps 1 to 10, is literally a one-page A4 document. And I shared this with everybody at the accelerator. On one page, on one page of paper, 10 steps. This is how you do what we do. So 1 is identify the site. 2 is complete the appraisal. 3 is complete the due diligence tab. 4 is to sense check your figures. 5 is to send them off to the third parties. And when you follow that methodology, it enables you to move really quickly. So when we saw this site, the first step was to complete the appraisal. The second, was to complete the appraisal. The second is to send it out to the team who are going to actually deliver it. And it enabled us to secure this site in, it was 4 hours to complete the appraisal from start to finish. And it was 3 hours from putting the offer in at 9 o'clock in the morning to 9:30 in the morning to exchanging contracts and buying it at 12:30. The methodology was step by step. What do we do? So step 1 was to appraise the site. So you need to go through the appraisal, follow the methodology. A is the next step. So methodology is step 1 to 10. This is what you do on one sheet of paper. We've done over 100 deals with one sheet of paper methodology. Step 2 is the assets. So what are the assets that enable you to leverage the methodology and do this effectively? So if we had to rely on manually sitting down with a calculator, spreadsheets, creating some sort of advanced appraisal to figure out whether this is a deal or not, there's no way we'd be able to do that appraisal in like 3 or 4 hours. The way that we did that is we've got the supporting assets. And again, when you understand how to build the map in your business and you've got the template, which we shared with everyone on the accelerator, all you need to do is populate the fields. So the asset that we used in this acquisition, so in the acquisitions process, is our appraisal template. So our appraisal template is the asset that backs up the methodology. And the appraisal template is literally 2 tabs. Got to fill in about 8 fields, the different fields: purchase price, stamp duty, price per square foot for construction, valuation per square foot for the end unit residential, end rents, end valuations, filling out that on the asset. And again, this is 1 tab on a spreadsheet. So that's the first part of the asset that supports the methodology. The second part is the due diligence. So if you've got to sit down and think about all the things that you've got to do in your business to complete the due diligence process, it'll take quite a while. However, when you've got the asset, which is basically a second tab on the spreadsheet, with all of the due diligence to complete, it takes you through to make sure you've covered everything, to make sure you don't miss anything, and you can just go through it painstakingly, understanding that once you've completed that, you've done everything and you've ticked all the boxes. There's nothing worse than missing something out, which makes the site fundamentally flawed afterwards. So A is the asset. So what asset is there to support the methodology? And in this case, again, we've used it on over 100 sites. We've bought 6 of these or 7 of these in the last year. And all of them have gone through exactly the same process, using that asset to appraise the site, use all of the populated figures that are in there to ascertain whether it's going to work. And on the back of that, we figured out that understanding the price per square foot, the construction per square foot, the comparable end value per square foot, we knew that on the price that we were paying for this per square foot, we would, in theory, be able to get our scheme in. So our scheme for this one is 20 apartments. So this would be 20 high density apartments across the 2 blocks. So that's the methodology, and then the assets to support that, whatever your assets might be. In this case, it's an appraisal spreadsheet. And then finally is the people and performance. Now, performance doesn't apply to this one because it's just an appraisal and acquisition, but performance comes in when you're doing things like running your KPIs, managing your team's performance, assessing people's progress against plan and schedule. The people and performance is then, right, in order for this to be effective, in order for this map to actually work in your business, what people do you need in your team? So we appraised it on Sunday afternoon and decided, this is definitely a site we want to be buying. Monday morning we were getting ready to put the offer in, but we need expertise. You can't go out and just buy these sites blind. We buy cash and we buy unconditionally. That's the way that we secure these high margins. This was going to auction. If it had gone to auction, I genuinely think it probably could have gone for, well, I would not have been surprised if it had gone for more than 100 grand of what, £100,000 of what we secured it for. We'll pay, in the good times, we'll pay up to £90 a square foot for these development sites. We paid £34 a square foot for this one because it went to auction. I think it was undervalued anyway, and then we purchased it pre-auction because we needed to move quick. We were a cash buyer. It was being sold by a pension fund who were getting either itchy feet or getting nervous or needed to liquidate, and we put together a cash offer very, very quickly, and they wanted to secure that before we went in the room. The only way that we could qualify our appraisal to make sure it was accurate was by having the right people ready to move. So we've got our planning consultant and our solicitor to review the legal pack, go through all of that, make sure that there's no skeletons in the closet, and then our planning consultant to sense check our scheme. When we're doing a headline appraisal, the only feedback that we seek, or the main feedback that we seek, is our scheme going to be viable based on the floor plan, and is our scheme going to be viable based on the local planning conditions? And when we understand how these work, very, very quickly, again using that methodology, very, very quickly we can ascertain whether the site works. So by 8:30, having said to Jen, this is a site that we're going to try to acquire, I need you to send it over to the so methodology, stacked it up, assets, did the appraisal, we need to send it over to the people, make sure that all of our assumptions are correct. Off to the planning consultant. Within an hour, he turned it round, confirmed that yes, as a minimum, because there's actually, you can't see it here. This building is vast. This is only 3 levels. It's actually 5 stories. When you go around the other side, it actually drops two stories down, and there's also 2 side buildings which you can't see because the tree's overgrown. It's 7,500 square foot. It's a big building. His feedback was, based on our appraisal and assumption, absolute minimum would be able to get 20 units, 21 bed units, based on the floor plan and the square footage. And then based on the local plan, because we've got other sites around here that we've completed, on the assumption that the minimum space standards aren't adopted, then we'll be able to potentially increase that, and that the appetite from the planners to accept that would be agreeable. We've got another site, maybe I'll take you there later in the week. We've got another site probably about 2 miles from here, where we've got a planning application in at the minute for 15 flats, and it was exactly the same process, exactly the same appraisal we did on that. We bought it cash, we bought it without planning, and we get the decision for that on the 22nd of August. What I'm trying to encourage you to think about here is you can really speed up the way that you run your businesses and take the value out of your head, out of the people, out of your own head, and put it into the process, so that once it's there, all of your team know where they stand, all of the people in the business know where they stand, and you can very quickly make some of these, you can very quickly seize some of these opportunities, move quickly, move confidently, and secure these deals. The map of the business is absolutely essential if you want to move from a position where you're not relying on the people in your business. So you need people, you need talent in your business, you need to build a dream team, that goes without saying. But if you're going to build a business rather than a job, the value needs to move as quickly as possible out of the people and into the process. And the only way you're going to do that is with a methodology, which on PPN Portfolio Builder, which has enabled us to buy over 130, deliver over 130 sites, much like this one. These are the bigger ones, to be honest. Obviously the HMOs are significantly smaller. The methodology is like start to finish, 1 to 10 or 1 to 20. How does this work? Really, really straightforward. You don't need 35-page flow charts of how everything works. Keep it simple. Methodology. The A is the supporting assets. What assets do you then need to support it? In this case, it's an appraisal framework. So it's a spreadsheet with the appraisal on one tab, the due diligence on the second, to make sure you do it consistently, you don't make it up as you go along, you don't miss everything, get through that. And then finally, the people and the performance. In this case, there's no performance element because the site's not yet being delivered. In a normal sense, it would be your KPIs, it would be your key figures, it would be your dashboards. And the people, what people do you need to have on hand, ready to go, to enable you to do these things quickly. When you put that in place, you could put all of that together in less than a day. Like half a day would probably be realistic. to get that into your business. And when you've got that, it will enable you to move fast. It will enable you to see sites like this, appraise them on a Sunday night, offer at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and be exchanging contracts at 12:30. And again, when I'm talking about the best time in 20 years to be a property entrepreneur, 2020 to 25, without a doubt, we've got high volatility and we've got high entrepreneurship. In these conditions, you need to be able to move quickly. And if you can do that, you won't be looking at the sort of 10, 15% triple net margins that we spoke about yesterday. You're seriously starting to look at like 20, 30, 40. Our model with this one is if we only go for planning gain and flip, our return will be between 75 and 100% return on cash, minimum, within 12 months. The only way you can do that is move quickly. The only way you can do that is to be able to do this effectively, and the only way you can do that is to have a map to your business. So every process in your business needs to be mapped. You need to have as many maps as possible through your business, and these things are not rocket science to put together. I took the property entrepreneurs at the weekend through this whole process start to finish, and within 3 months, genuinely, you can map out your whole business, put all the operations and systems in place, and enable you to start stepping up to investor and entrepreneur level, where you're not relying on it being in your head and it being a job, and you have to be there all the time to allow it to work. You can actually step up and start turning this into a proper business and start doing some sites like this where you can move quick and secure them. How you got good value from that? Systems can be sexy when they when they give you good returns. They're not as strenuous and labour intensive and onerous as people sort of make out. Systems are going to be the difference between you having a proper business that can work without you. You can work on it rather than in it, and running around being a very busy entrepreneur caught up in the day to day. So I hope you got value from that. Wish you all the best looking for your own developments. Start thinking about what maps you need to put into your business, and I'll do some more videos later in the week on some other bits and pieces. I've got to go to the dentist now, so I better go. I'll catch you later. Have a great day.